for rent. When you walk in, there is an office to the left. We may want to demolish this because I don't know what the need would be for an office right as you walk in, but it's so spacious in here that an office location may not actually matter. So this is when you walk in. These are what the restrooms look like. It already has sprinklers in there, so we won't have to do anything like that from scratch. Second restroom. It actually has a bar by the toilet, so that seems considerably closer to ADA compliance than the last location. And then you have a back office room over here, which I think would be excellent for YouTube and filming. Just got a bunch of crap, but obviously we can just dump all this stuff out. Except for this, of course. This would be Paul's workstation. Do you mind if I take a quick measurement of everything?
Yeah, sure.
Let me just see, because it makes it easier when showing the space to the interior designer. If I... There we go. Okay, include that. I'll include this. And now for the office. So 1929, this so far, without including the back office, is actually larger than the 30th Street location. So 2250 advertised as 25. That's about a 10% loss factor, which is very fair on the honest side. So 19. Okay, so now what are they looking for in terms of moving in? Like, what are their terms?
We ran a electronic repair store business with my boss, and he said it's absolutely fine. That's actually an ideal sort of tenant. Just a company that will be able to pay the rent, has good credit, that will establish a long-term relationship with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because at this point, about 50% of our customers are actually outside of New York, so even if people stopped walking in, it wouldn't be a big deal. Mm-hmm. But a lot of our customers are coming from FIP and also NYU, so the proximity to FIP is like a kind of an unintended advantage, because I actually forgot about it when writing down the law. What are they looking for in terms of security deposit?
I think it would be like a 2-month security deposit.
Okay. Take note over here that not only is there a smaller security deposit, they're asking for 2 months rather than 3 months. But just like with every other space I've seen, it's the first 2 months of the lease, not the last 2 months of the lease. When I ask broker this question, is it the first 2 months or the last 2 months of the lease that the security deposit is looked based on, they always look at me kind of funny, like, why the fuck would you think it's the last 2 months? And the fact that this is the response that I'm continuously getting is more of why I called the managing agents and whatnot cunts and people who negotiate in bad faith with regards to that 30th Street location. Like the standard, like sharing, in terms of property tax sharing, where are they there?
Yeah, you would pay 20% of the year-over-year taxes. Okay. So if taxes increased $1,000 in 2020 as opposed to 2019, we would pay 20% of that increase.
Okay.
That would be $200.
And the monthly that they were looking at for this?
It would be $13,000 a month.
Okay. Now here's just strange question for you, and feel free to say you don't want to answer this. I was working with a broker for about 2 to 3 months, and this is a space that's, I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's good. It's, I would say, one of the top 3 that I looked at. And he never showed me this. And he had a conversation where he said that smaller landlords tend to not pay brokers, so there's an incentive for brokers not to show those spaces. Is this a space that would have been broker friendly if a broker came by and said, I am looking for a broker fee of $30,000 to $40,000 based on a 10-year lease? Or is this a space where they would have said, take a hike?
No, we'll pay out full broker fees. We've done it before.
Okay, because I'm just kind of curious as to why it is I never saw this location.
I don't know. It's
Without me looking for myself. I mean, this is, I don't want to get involved.
How do you find it?
I found the space on LoopNet.
Through LoopNet, yeah, that's where we get the listing.
This was the 3rd one that popped up, and I'm fairly surprised. That's what I'm looking for the catches. That's why I'm asking all these questions. I'm expecting a catch to show up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the one that's marketing it, so if there's any other platforms to put it on, I will. But LoopNet was the only one that.
Do you think they'd be open to a greater concession if there was no broker fee? Because I'm the owner of the company.
Mm-hmm.
Or what are they offering, if anything, actually?
So the owners, they will provide any sort of construction services that you may request. If you want like any of these walls down, they'll do it for you. They'll paint, obviously. We're getting everything removed next week.
So sounds like they would be more interested in doing the construction work for me rather than giving free rent for me to do it myself with my own contract.
Yeah, or they'll do
Are they open to either, or is one preferred?
No, it's not only preferred. It's whatever you would prefer.
Mm-hmm.
It's
do they have a desire for their own contractors to work on the building? Because I've dealt with some building owners who said, I only want somebody I know working on it, or is it anybody who's licensed in New York that is doing it above board is okay?
Yeah, anyone's okay, as long as they're certified and have a good track record. But they really want a long-term tenant, and they're willing to concede if it's reasonable, like reasonable concessions.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Would you be okay with me doing remodeling and stuff like that? And they said that they would do it at their cost. So, I mean, this is just mind-blowing. Like, you own the building and you're going to renovate it for the tenant rather than the tenant renovating something he doesn't own at his cost. Oh, that's how it's supposed to be. I mean, I'm used to it because I'm from New York and I'm used to the way things work here. Whereas many of you, the viewers, are not used to New York and you're not used to how things work here. So you're the people in my comments blowing it up saying, why the fuck are you spending 6 figures to renovate a space that you don't fucking own? And you all make an excellent point. Why the fuck am I paying to renovate something I don't own? Well, the reason I'm doing that is because I believed that at $70 a square foot, sans loss factor, $79 a square foot after loss factor, at the 30th Street space was the best deal I was going to get. When you consider the location, proximity to trains, the fact that, Midtown Manhattan, the size of the space, and the fact that it's retail, it was good enough and cheap enough per square foot that I would have been willing to do a fair amount of remodeling and construction work if you give me some concession. This space here, when you look at the square footage, is actually cheaper per square foot when you do the calculation at $13,000 for an additional 300 square feet. This place is cheaper than 30th Street. And the building management are willing to do the construction and upgrades as I see fit. We're not even talking about filling the walls, because we're not talking about fixing holes in the walls. We're not talking about little stuff like that. We're talking about even demolishing a wall that I don't want there. They'll do it for me. In 30th Street, I would have been fixing the everything, like the ceiling tiles that look like they had water leak on them or mold, or the electrical panel that's fucked up, or the holes in the wall, or just the general dilapidated condition of that old ass space. In order to negotiate the lower rent of $12,800, I had to deal with all of that on my own. But in this space, it's cheaper, and they expect that it's their responsibility without me even negotiating it to make the space nice on the inside and make sure it's the code, make sure everything's proper, and make sure that it looks nice. That's the way it's supposed to be. And this is the thing that's been driving me nuts about all the people that say, you're way too picky, you're never going to find a space, you're purposely trying to drag this out, that's a good deal. When you get a good deal, you got to accept a good deal, Louis. And honestly, I don't want to speak bad of Alan. I really don't. And he said, it's going to be really hard to find an office rent like this, even if it needs a little bit of work. It's not the fact that this space is still cheap and they're willing to do the work for me and it's nice. It's not even the fact that this space is cheaper and in better condition and they're willing to do some of the work for me. It's the fact that it was 3 blocks away. It's 3 blocks south. It was in the same area. And it wasn't just Alan that said that. It was many of you. Many of you in the comments saying you're not going to find better, just make it and take the fucking deal. This place is 3 blocks south. 3 blocks south. A 3-block walk. This is a less than 3-minute walk to get to this store. And it is in better condition, a way better deal. What this teaches me is if you're walking around and you're thirsty and everybody's selling a bottle of Poland Spring for $10, and one person walks up to you and says, I'll give you a Poland Spring for $7, and you say no, and a bunch of people around you say, you're an idiot, you should take the deal. No, you shouldn't, because a bottle of Poland Spring is $1. Maybe $2 if you're in some ripoff, $3 if you're in some ultra ripoff hotel or something, but not $10. And even if somebody takes $3 off of a ripoff, it's still a fucking ripoff. Don't take it, because the $2 or $3 Poland Spring is just a walk down the street, and you just haven't found it yet. And just because you haven't found a deal that is normal does not mean that everything available on the market is a deal. Free markets are a thing, but there are also things called bubbles in free market economies. And bubbles will cause landlords to think that you need to spend $200,000 to renovate their building that they can kick you out of with a demolition clause while you're paying $12,800 a month to be in the space. Fuck that. One of the reasons that I walked away from that deal is that it didn't matter to me that it was a large space in a centrally located area that was cheap. It still felt like I could do better. And at some point, I started to feel petulant. I started to feel greedy. I started to feel like an asshole. I started to feel like I'm dragging Alan along. I'm dragging building management along. I'm just wasting the time of all these brokers and landlords when I should just make a decision already. I started to really feel guilty about that. And now what I'm thinking about is how angry I was at the fact that I felt any guilt at listening to my gut instinct. Imagine if I had signed a lease on 30th Street. Here's the part that could really enrage somebody. Just imagine you're me. You spent months looking for a new space. You signed a lease at $12,833 a month. You paid the 3-month $39,000 or $40,000 security deposit. And you're right about to write a check to the contractor for the $120,000 or $150,000 to redo the space. You write that check and you're like, oh, man. And then you walk 3 blocks south and you realize you could have got a larger space for less money and paid $0 in construction. People have tried to kill themselves over less amounts of money than the amount of money that I would have put down the drain on that decision. That's a lot of money. And to not vet every single option, to not listen to every single gut instinct when you're talking about that amount of money is stupid. Let people think that you're petulant. Let people think that you're picky. Let people think that you're difficult to work with when you're looking at spending $1.7 million fucking dollars of your own money out of pocket that wasn't given to you. If it means getting the deal that you know you need to get. Because I'm just imagining right now, I'm just thinking about what it would have been like. I signed that 30th Street lease. I pay all the money. I dealing with an asshole super kind of Dick's building management. And I'm writing a check to the contractor for all that work to be done. And then I just walk along. Maybe I want to, check out the pantyhose store on that block. Maybe I could use a new set of pantyhose or something. And I'm walking past and I see that store and I see that it's cheaper. And he asks, oh, yeah, so what's the condition? And I look inside. Oh, yeah, it needs no construction, but if it does, the owners will handle it for you. I would have flipped my shit. I would have absolute fucking flipped my shit. It's one thing to try to get a deal on a CPU and you see it's $350 and the next week there's a coupon code where it's $290 in another website. Fuck, I could have saved $40 if I waited. It's another to realize that you threw away $150,000 to $200,000 of your money to get a space that's not even as good as what you could have had if you were just a little bit more stubborn in advocating for what you knew was right. And I'm feeling really good right now that I didn't take that $7 bottle of water, because had I taken that $7 bottle of water, I would have. And then I found out there was a $1 bottle of water, I'd have been pretty pissed. Now imagine doing that with 5 zeros on the end. And you get it. Okay, what would you need for me to get the process started?
We'll have you fill out an application. We'll run it by the board, and we can take it from there.
Okay, do you have any of that stuff on you, or was that something you have to email?
Yeah, I'd have to email it to you.
Yeah, I forgot 21st century. Okay, so...
There's also a basement if you want to see.
Yeah, let me take a look and see.
So the additional square feet in the basement is not included in the 2,500 that's up here.
Yeah, I measured, and it was about 2250 up here, which, considering loss factor, is actually fairly honest advertising, because much of what I've seen has had a 30% or more in retail, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting 30% for office, not retail.
Okay.
But this space is actually fairly...
Yeah, I have a floor plan that I'll give to you as a handout. It's also on the plan.
I'm just surprised I was never shown this space.
Yeah, I mean, it became available in early August, so it hasn't been on the market for so long.
Interesting.
Yep, so this is all could be used by the tenant if you like.
Poor mouse. Oh well. My cat would have done worse. Yes, I'm interested in the space, and I'd like to move forward. So, after you send me an application, should I respond to the application, including some tax forms and financial statements for them as well?
Yeah, definitely. That would be super helpful.
What is the process with regards to a board? Because you said I would show it to the board. I haven't dealt with a building with a board, so perhaps that's the catch here. Is this one of those things where, like, if your sign is red instead of green, they say they kick you out, like it was Subway in Wisconsin?
No.
Now, at this point, I'm really wondering about catches. You can see that I'm being open in the process of having this discussion with the guy. Like, where's the catch? What's the catch? Why is this space so cheap? What is missing? Where are the bodies buried besides the mouse in the basement? I feel bad for the little mouse. What went on here? And it seems like there really is no catch. The only catch they appear to have is they want to be very picky in choosing a tenant because they want a tenant that's not going to screw them. I imagine that they put that office there for the previous tenant because they wanted an office there. Now they have a retail space that has an office right as you walk in the front door. That's useless. When's the last time you walked into a store and right next to the store's opening there's an office? That's wasted frontage. That's something that another tenant is not going to want there, and they're stuck with it because they built it for a tenant that didn't stay. So what I'm thinking is perhaps they went for the market value rent and they got a flaky tenant, and now they would rather go for the normal rent, a sane number, sane terms, but be very picky to ensure they get somebody that stays in the building. And that's what I'm looking for. That's exactly what my current building was like. The landlord knew that some guy from the hookah bar next door wanted to open a little garden bar restaurant, kind of the backyard garden bar restaurant thing. He would have been willing to pay 2 to 3 times what I'm paying right now to have the space and do that. But he didn't take it because he wanted a stable business that was going to be there for 7 or 10 years, always pay rent on time, not go out of business, not screw up the building. That's who I am. And that's what they value. So they want stability in a tenant. That's me. And they're willing to give up high prices, which is, again, that's me. I don't want high prices. So this place seems perfect. I'm going to ask, and also you can see as the video goes on that I'm trying to be a little bit better about this whole, oh yeah, this place is great. That's a great thing. I took everything you said into account. Yeah, it's decent. It's not great, but it's like, it's 80% of what I may need. I'm not going to let them know that I'm like cumming my pants as I walk around the space with my Bosch. That like my little Bosch container is probably soaked by now. Yeah, too much information. Is it too much information, Erica? Probably. It's the truth. That space is fucking amazing at the price they're asking. Think about the amount that they're charging per square foot is less than what my current space cost in 2011. Not even now. In 2011. The rent was higher on my current space per square foot than it is here in this place that is mint condition, needs no construction. Wow. Just wow. There's got to be a catch. I'll see. But I'm going to ask for a lease application. I'm going to have them send it over. I'm going to send in all the information. And hopefully they accept me as a tenant because this place is fucking gorgeous. This is perfect. This is beautiful. I don't think I will find better than this. Because I always have that little feeling in the back of my head like, is this really the right thing? Yeah, they say it's a good deal, but is it really? Or, I like it, but I have this reservation. Here I have no reservations. My only reservation is wanting to know where Jimmy Hoffa's fucking body is hiding. Like, what wall is it in, so that I know why it is you're charging this little for the space. But this place is gorgeous. I really hope I get it. We'll see.
It's very easygoing board. It's since this building is owned by shareholders, they just need to, give the green light. It's ultimately up to them. But that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, so also, let me text you my email address as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So what do we have here?
The floor plan is in there.
Ah, okay. Yeah, much better than my GoPro nonsense. So let me just fit this in my bag. This is the best way around the city to avoid traffic.